For April, we're talking about things you can do to AI generated content that will improve it, make it more effective, make it connect better with your audience. So in March, we talked about sort of the do's and don'ts for AI writing. What is it good for? What do we want to not use it for? How can we sort of edit or change it in order to make sure that it still connects with our audience? And so here in April, I'm giving you 5 specific things you can do in order to make sure that your AI generated writing or drafts still work, are as effective as possible. So top 5 tips. Number 1, take a look at how you are using the word I. So I in English is the word that we use for the speaker position. So when I'm the person talking, I use the word I. When I'm the person writing, I use the word I. There's a little bit of a difference in that when we're speaking, we take turns being I. So when we're talking to each other, there's an I, there's a you, and when it's your turn to talk, you get to be I and you make me the you, and it goes back and forth like that in a conversation. In writing, you're writing from your perspective. So everything you say is coming from that I voice, which means that when you write the word I, you are emphasizing your point of view. For that reason, I encourage people in business communication to use the word I for actions that you have taken or will take, so that you are specific about responsibility and accountability. I have called the client. I will put their contract together. You're using the word I for the actions that you are responsible for. But try to avoid using I for thoughts or feelings. I think, I believe, I wonder, I hope, I know, I feel, because I is already there. Since we're writing, everything we're writing is coming from our point of view, from that I voice. So you don't need to use I as often as you might use it when you're talking. Okay, that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to watch out for words that end with ly. I've posted about this. My AI tools, I see them recommending more ly words. So one of them said, if you add the word ultimately to this sentence, it'll make it sound more professional. To which I asked, why does adding the word ultimately change the tone to be more professional? And it said, of course, oh, you're right. So AI is reflecting patterns that exist in our language. Those patterns are from the data set, and the data set is not just good writing. It's all the writing we produce. So the recommendation to add ly words tends to come through AI because that occurs, that's a pattern that occurs in the data set. But just because it happens all the time doesn't make it good. So watch out for ly words. They are adverbs, if you want to know the grammar. They are not bad or wrong generally. They just tend to add an element of judgment to our writing. And business writing is supposed to be emotionally neutral. We're supposed to present the facts as much as possible so that people can interpret the actions themselves. Right? Because what we care about in business is that the work gets done. And we're trying to leave our emotions at the door because the work is in service of a company or an organization that we work for. And the task is the thing, not how we're feeling that day. All right, so look for words that end with ly and see if you can take them out. You can't get rid of every single one, and don't get rid of every single one. Just, it's a good thing to look at and evaluate. Make your own decisions about whether to use the ly words or not. Third tip, the first sentence of whatever document you are generating is the one most likely to be read by your reader. So take the time to make sure that that first sentence, very first sentence, so it's after the greeting in an email, the first sentence in a text or chat or DM, the first sentence in a report, whatever that is, you want it to be purpose-driven and audience-focused. And the goal with that is to tell the reader what this is and why they should care about it. And try to avoid using the setup phrases like, I'm writing to inform you that, of course, I can see that you're writing, so you don't have to tell me. And I figured you were writing to tell me something. So I'm writing to inform you that isn't useful. The sentence should start with whatever comes after that. Or I'm writing you because. Delete that. what comes after because, that's where your sentence starts. Okay, so just make sure that you're not using framing devices that we see. Those can happen in your head, but your reader doesn't need them. Your reader needs to know, what is this? This report covers this stuff, or here's the contract for the client, or make it, what is this? And what is your audience supposed to do with it? Your first sentence is your most valuable real estate. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is take a look at your last sentence. That's your second most valuable real estate. And at the end of anything, any document that you're writing, whether it's the end of an email, the end of a report, the end of a text or chat or DM, that is usually the outcome sentence where you tell or ask the reader what to do next. So make sure that that sentence specifies what's the action you want the reader to take. What do you want them to do now that they've read this message, skimmed this message? What do you want them to do? What's the time frame in which you want them to do it? Humans just work better if we understand when we need to have it done. So do I need to do it today? Does it need to be done this week? Like, what's your goal in terms of time frame? So what action, what's our time frame? And then connect it to an outcome. You want me to do this so that this happens. Humans are more motivated if they understand what the result of their actions will be. So the best kind of template to use is, please do the thing by the date so that something will happen. And you can always turn it into a question. Would you be able to? You can even have them assign their own deadline. When would you be able to? But trying to connect the action you want the reader to take in what time frame with an outcome or result of that action. So that's tip number 4. And tip number 5, your language is as unique to you as your fingerprint. It is the result of everything that makes you you. AI writing is the result of patterns generated by millions of humans creating millions of pieces of text. And so it tends to sound like anyone instead of like a particular person. You can use AI generated writing then for presenting information, but you want to make sure that all of the words and sentences and content sound like you, sound like the way that you use language, the way that you communicate with people in your circle. People want to work with other people. And so read the writing that you're generating with AI tools, read it out loud, and it should sound like something you would actually say. Our 5 tips for editing, reviewing, revising AI-generated content or content that you've worked with AI tools to generate. Take a look at how you're using I, use it for actions, try to take it out for thoughts and feelings. Look at ly words that end with ly, and see if you need them. Check that your first sentence is purpose-driven and audience-focused. So it tells them, what is this and why should they care? Okay. Look at your last sentence and see, does that sentence tell the reader the action that I want them to take, the time frame I want them to take it in, and connect that action to a desired outcome? Is that all clear so that my reader will act? And finally, does all of the language, from individual words to phrases to sentence structure, does it sound like me? Once you check for all of those things, you should be good to go.